continuing on with Virgo. Our textbook for this presentation is The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About J.C. the Christ Figure by the Reverend Bill Darrell-El. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. I strongly recommend that you read this along with The Devil's Pulpit. The link to that is also in the description area of the video. All right, I'm just getting my tea together, y'all. So this is my morning ritual. As it is for many in Asia. Okay, as it is for many in Asia. Give me one moment. Get my things together. We're on page 144, beginning our next subheading, which is the parable of the lost sheep. All right, the parable of the lost sheep. So those of you who may be new, this is, I'm in Vietnam. They have tradition of giving free tea when you go into a coffee shop. Most restaurants too. This is a different type of container than what I've seen in the past. But it is, you know, they give you a lot, right? This is herbal tea, black tea from Vietnam. So I usually have that. I take black coffee, but lately I don't drink the black coffee. I might sip a little bit of it, but I don't drink the whole thing. And usually I have sugarcane juice, but unfortunately when I went to get my sugarcane juice, they're sold out. But I'm here. I hope y'all are ready to get started. So just to go over my expectations of you. If you stay here longer than 5 minutes, like the video, share the video. If you don't want to do that, you're invited to leave. Don't stay past 5 minutes, okay? If it's not for you, go, all right? Also, if you've been here more than once and you've stayed longer than 5 minutes, I do ask that you subscribe. The reason why I'm doing this, making these demands of you, is that YouTube shadow bans this channel. So I need everyone to support distributing the video. And it's a shame really that I have to say this. People should do it on their own, but you know how the culture is, right? The indoctrination of non-support. So do that, okay? If you've been here more than once and you've stayed more than 5 minutes, and you're learning, and clearly you're learning if you stay here, because I'm not trying to be funny or talking about stupid, ignorant stuff, right? So anyway, subscribe, share the video on your social media. So those are my expectations of you. So let's get into the paragraph. Again, page 141. If you haven't printed this, download it and print it. All right, I have links to 3 books in the description area of this video. All of you should download each book and go print it and have it bound. And when we do these presentations, you pull out your physical copy of the book. All right? Physical copy of the book. Treat this like a real class, and you'll get the full benefit out of it. Take your margin notes. Margin notes in the margin, right? Margin notes. Or you can do footer notes or header notes, all right? Do whatever you want with the text. Just remember, if you mark it all up, when you come back to read it, it's going to be difficult for you to read it. All right? Okay, so be very disciplined about note-taking. Okay, if you don't know how to take notes, learn how to take notes. Don't try to write everything. Listen and listen. You don't have to take notes the first time you hear this. Go back, take notes maybe the second or even the third time. All right, that's how to take notes properly. The parable of the lost sheep. Matthew adds the parable of the lost sheep. This is found in Matthew chapter 18, 11 through 14. Immediately after these warnings about let me repeat that. Immediately after these warnings about indifference. All right, so indifference means you don't care one way or the other, right? Don't make no never mind to you. All right, so here's that quote from Matthew. For the Son of Man has come to save the lost. Now, you also do some research on who exactly this Son of Man is. It may not be JC, the Christ figure, right? You do your own research, come to your own conclusion about this Son of Man, okay? What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them is lost, won't he leave the 99 and go into the mountains to look for the one that has gone astray? And believe me, if he happens to find it, he will rejoice over that sheep than over the 99 which did not wander. All right? Well, let's see where the author is going with this. I don't know. Topic is indifference. Okay, so let's continue. This is a reference to the constellation Boots. All right. So let me show you a picture of the constellation here. This is figure 17. Boots, the coming one, the shepherd. Well, there you go. Boots would be the Son of Man. The Son of Man who was coming, right? Boots is the coming one, the shepherd. So y'all take a look at Boots. This is the constellation. This, of course, is coming from Greek mythology. Greek mythology. Take a look. Okay, you can pause the video when you watch this again and study the image. So again, figure 17, Boots, B-O-O-T-E-S, the coming one, the shepherd. So there we have it. There we have it. Boots is a constellation. Let's continue. This is the reference to the constellation Boots, one of the deacons of Virgo. You will remember, scholars, that a deacon of a constellation means it is another constellation located near or in the neighborhood of the zodiac. So in this case, one of the deacons of Virgo, or one of the constellations that are located in the neighborhood, or let's say next door to Virgo, is Boots. And Boots, again, is the coming one, the shepherd. Clear? All right. Now remember, a constellation is a group of stars. A constellation is a group of stars. Okay? Boots, one of the oldest named constellations, is mentioned in the Odyssey and has been identified for 3,000 years and possibly longer. Its name has many possible derivations. Okay? So we're going to get into the origin of the name Boots. But pastor was one of its titles. So one of the titles for Boots is pastor. Okay, so one of Boots' titles is pastors in the ancient world. The French still call Boots Bouvier, probably because the kite-like shape of the constellation, okay, so the constellation resembles a human figure who seems to be eternally shepherding the stars around the North Pole. Okay, so Boots has the shape of a kite, looks like a human, all right, human. I don't know if this is intentionally human or man, but let's take it for what it is. A human shepherding the stars around the North Pole. That's the North Pole in space, right? Okay, shepherding the stars around the North Pole in space. Okay. So just as JC the Christ figure shepherds his 12 apostles, who are what? They're representative of the constellations. JC shepherds the apostles, right? Okay. And his followers. Okay, so let's continue. Its most prominent star, Arcturus, Arcturus, the fourth brightest star in the sky, was called the shepherd of the heavenly flock. Y'all hear that? Now this star has been around more than, but Boots has been known for more than 3,000 years. So that means Boots was around at least 1,000 years before JC the Christ figure was born. Okay, and even more than that, before Christianity started. Therefore, these titles, the coming one and the shepherd, Boots had them first. All right? So this is not something that was taken from the Gospels and put on or branded on Boots. No. Boots had these titles first. Boots was the shepherd of the constellations around the North Pole in space before there ever was a JC the Christ figure or Christianity. Y'all see it? So don't try to swap it, you religious people. Don't try to say that, no, that this is, they're copying it, they made it up. Boots was in existence, or known rather, 3,000 years ago. So that's 1,000 years before JC was ever born. All right? 1,000 years before he was allegedly born. Okay? So if there's any copying, the copying came from the Christians. They gave JC a title similar to Boots, not the other way around. Okay, so the most prominent star in Boots is Arcturus, the fourth brightest star in the sky. Okay, and so Arcturus was called the shepherd of the heavenly flock. Arcturus, the fourth brightest star in the sky, is called the shepherd of the heavenly flock. 1,000 years before there ever was a JC, before he was even ever born. Okay? Or the shepherd of the life of heaven. So again, Arcturus' titles were shepherd of the heavenly flock, shepherd of the life of heaven, and the coming one. All right, and the coming one. Okay? So in ancient civilizations of the Euphrates, so he was known in the ancient civilizations of Euphrates, and he had all of those titles that we just went through. In Greek mythology, Boots was one of the twins of Poseidon. Here we are back into the sea. Y'all see that? We're back into the sea, the world of the dead, the Raphaim, the Dogon, and Oannes. Okay. Okay, Boots was one of the twin sons of Poseidon, who was abandoned and left to die on Mount Pelion, but who was rescued and raised by a herdsman. All right. Boetius was later reclaimed by his grandfather and went on to inherit part of his kingdom. Seiss writes, "We have here the figure of a strong man, whom the Greeks named Boots, the plowman." All right, so Boots is also the plowman. But he and the so-called plow are set in opposite directions. Neither does a man plow with unlifted hands in the attitude of this figure. All right, so there's again another parallel. The name, thus transformed into Greek, has in it a Hebrew and Oriental root, which is bo, that's B-O, which means coming, hence the coming one, or the one that was to come. Boots is not a plowman at all, but the guardian and shepherd of the flocks. The brightest star in the constellation of Boots is called Arcturus. Arcturus is the guardian or the keeper of Arctos, A-R-K-T-O-S, a word which in its oriental elements connect with the idea of enclosure, the ascending, the happy, the going up upon the mountains. Seiss, page 32, emphasis added. All right, y'all, so we see a whole lot of parallels there, okay? Seiss's etymology may be strange. Let me repeat that. Seiss's etymology may be strange, but JC's statement, quote, "For the Son of Man is come," we have the Greek word here, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, "to save that which was lost," end quote, which immediately precedes the parable. And the reference to the mountains within the parable certainly seem to substantiate it. Okay, so here we are. So this is, according to what I can see, the reference to the article, all of this is a sign to those who have been initiated that this is astrotheology. But for you, the regular church member, camp member, who don't have this information, you don't have this knowledge, you think that this is real historical stuff. When in fact it is not. It is simply describing the stars in a way that's hidden to you. All right? It's describing the stars in a story, metaphorically describing the stars. Period. That's all it's doing. That's what this is about. So you don't know these key words and key phrases. Well, you know them now, but in the past you didn't. So you think it's a historical story. But for educated people or the initiates, that's what I'm talking about when I say educated people. Those people who have been initiated into the secret societies, they know this information. Why? Not because they're smarter than you. They're probably not smarter than you. They probably have poor character. Definitely they do, right? We read in the Devil's Pulpit that they recruit people who will do what they're told to do and who love money and who love women more than anything else. In other words, they'll cut your throat for 5 pennies. All right, but they've been initiated. That's the point. All right, let's continue. So they're not smarter than you, and they're definitely not better than you. If anything, it's the complete and extreme opposite, which is why they were initiated. The story has an obvious relationship with the Virgo concern for the details. The story has an obvious relationship with the Virgoian concern for the details. Most of us would be content that 99 were safe, and we wouldn't be inclined to jeopardize the safety by seeking out the straying sheep. Have you ever thought about that? I know I have. If I got 99 and one goes away, I'm going to go up into the mountains or wherever the sheep might be, put my own life at risk, right? You know, by an encounter with a wild animal, just to find that one sheep. Or, being that I'm a mature man, am I going to wait around for the sheep to come back? That's most likely what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait around. Let the sheep come back. In fact, I probably wouldn't even realize the sheep was gone. If I have 99, I'm not going to every day go count my sheep. I'm not going to do that, right? Would you do that? Go count your sheep every day? You count your sheep? You got 100, you got to go out there and count them every day. You notice one is gone. Then you go up into the mountains where there are wild animals, put your own life at risk, or you send someone, don't say you're going to send your son into the mountains. You know, maybe he might encounter a pack of wolves or a bear or a coyote, you know, wherever you're at in the world, right? They get hungry too. For one sheep? All right? Y'all ever think about that? Would you do it? Be honest with yourself. Would you do it? Are you going to go out every morning or every whatever, every afternoon, every evening and count your sheep? You got 100. How is it that you learned that one is missing? Did you see him run away? I've never seen sheep run away, but I don't, you know, I'm not a sheep farmer. What's the likelihood of a sheep running away? Yeah, have you guys, scholars, have you thought about that? But anyway, let's continue. But capital G-O-D, who notices even the fall of a sparrow. So here's another attention to minute detail that's characteristic of Virgo. And the number of hairs on your head looks after the small matters as well as the bigger picture. So that's taken after from Matthew chapter 10, verse 29 and 30, y'all. All right, so let's continue. As Virgoian Mother Teresa said, quote, "Little things are indeed little, but to be faithful in little things is a great thing," end quote. So that concludes Virgo, y'all. I hope this gives you something to think about. Start analyzing the Gospels from a non-doctrinal point of view. But let me say this, okay? Christ himself, JC himself said, he spoke in parables so that the people would not know what he was talking about, and so that they would not be saved. Let me repeat that. JC, the Christ figure himself, said he spoke in parables so that the people would not understand him and therefore not be saved. What can you conclude from that? He wanted them to do what? Die. And he wanted them to what? Burn in hell, if that's your doctrine. People who do not repent cannot be saved, and they go burn in hell. Or what? Or they don't get a resurrection, whatever your doctrine is. JC said that himself about the masses of people. The only people privy to understand his parables were his 12 apostles and those few people who hung around him, right? I brought that to y'all attention with emphasis on his friends, because it's very easy to read that and to say, okay, well, he only told it to his 12. No. There were some friends with him. So are you going to say the friends are all the Christian congregation and all of the believers? No, cannot be. Excuse me. JC sent out his followers to preach by twos. And he went preaching and teaching the people, right? That's how the story goes. So he had his friends, and he had those who he went and he taught. He talked to them, right? He did not want them to understand the parables so that they would not repent and be saved. Therefore, according to JC's own words, he wanted them to either experience eternal torture in hell, burning, or eternal death, no resurrection. Okay? If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch all of the presentations, because I don't remember which one it is, or you can go back and read about it in the Devil's Pulpit. The link is in the description area of this video. Go back and find it in there. The book is there. And it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Also, be sure to support the DrYasapa project to write the book of the law in ancient Ibaryath, and then to write it in modern English coming out of the ancient Ibaryath. Okay, y'all? Support that if you feel it in your heart. If you feel like we need to have our own book of the law, about time, right? If you understand the way I do, that it's a humiliation that we don't have our own book of the law and that we don't have our own documents. Now, I've published many documents. There are links in ancient Ibaryath. There are links in the description area of this video, but the Hebrew Israelites won't promote it. They won't talk about it. And the Christians don't. Why? Because it's competition. They see me, Zion Law School, as competition, meaning they see what, like a camp or congregation. I don't know what they see. But there's nothing to join here. I don't have anything to join. I don't teach a doctrine. You don't have to believe anything and sign up. All right? But it is what it is. They won't talk about it. They won't promote it. Y'all go back in the description area of all of my recent videos. You'll see many of the books I've published on ancient Ibaryath. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 28, I Can Read series, 911 Ibaryath Rescue, 101 Phoenician Hebrew. That's the 10 Commandments explained and written in the ancient Ibaryath. A lot of stuff. Okay. Now it's time to have the book of the law in ancient Ibaryath. I'll show you how to pronounce every word. I'll show you how to read it. I'll show you the etymological meaning. That's the original meaning of the word without remix, without any tampering. And then I'll show you what the actual verse says. Okay? In ancient Ibaryath, with the etymological meaning, with parts of speech. So you can do that type of analysis. You can do linguistics analysis on it, right? Then I'm going to show you what it says in modern English, with all the remix removed, all the lies removed, all of the mythology removed, all Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences removed. All hidden information, all hidden text, restored. Yes, all of it restored. How do I know? Because it's in the Ancient Ibaryath. So if you come to my class on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I can show you what I'm talking about. It's right there. Okay, so all of that's going to be restored. Okay, and all of this helps you to be confident in who you are. Right? Because you'll see it on the page. Natural law will be restored. It's been hidden, it will be restored. And you'll be able to look at the English, modern English text and do a comparative analysis with the ancient Ibaryath. All right? So you don't have to trust me, you don't have to believe me the way you believe other Bible translators, such as NIV, KJV, all of them. All right? All right, I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School, Islam to all the Moors, and Shalawama to all Genesis chapter 2 autochthonous Moors.